Renee noticed the silence first, not the peaceful kind, the kind that settled after prayer or laughter, but the heavy, watchful quiet that pressed against her chest like a warning. The house was too still for 11:47 p.m. Marcus was late. Again. She sat on the edge of the bed, her Bible open on Psalm 34, though she hadn't read a single verse in the last 10 minutes. The lamp cast a warm glow across the room, but it did nothing to chase away the unease curling in her stomach. Her phone buzzed. Not a message, just the screen lighting up as the time ticked closer to midnight. Renee exhaled slowly and whispered, "Lord, please let me be wrong." When the front door finally opened, the sound was careless, keys scraping, shoes kicked off without ceremony. Marcus moved through the hallway quietly, but not quietly enough. She knew that walk. Measured, heavy, guarded. He stood in the doorway, his shadow stretching across the bedroom floor. "You're still awake," he said. Renee looked up. His smile didn't reach his eyes. "Church meeting ran late?" she asked gently. "Yes," he replied too quickly. She nodded, though her spirit recoiled. The lie didn't shout, it whispered, and that was worse. The addictions that wear church clothes. Marcus Hale was respected. That was the part that made it hardest to admit. He was an elder, a mentor, the man young husbands called when they needed guidance, the one pastors trusted with responsibility, the man who prayed eloquently and spoke about discipline, order, and surrender. No one suspected addiction wore such a clean suit, not even Renee at first. The drinking had started years ago, quietly, a glass of wine after long days, a beer during game nights, prescription painkillers after a back injury that never quite healed. Then came the excuses, then the secrecy, then the rituals. Marcus told himself he deserved relief, that stress justified escape, that he was still in control. He told himself God understood, but control had slipped long before he noticed. Renee's prayer closet began to feel like a battlefield. Renee didn't accuse, she prayed. At first, she prayed softly, carefully, as if naming the fear might make it real. "God, if something is wrong, show me." The answer didn't come as thunder. It came as patterns, missed calls, mood swings, irritation during worship, a glassy look behind tired eyes. One night, while folding laundry, she found a pill bottle in Marcus's jacket. Not his name, not his dosage. Her knees buckled. She sank to the floor, clutching the plastic like evidence she hadn't wanted. "Lord," she whispered, tears spilling freely now, "what am I fighting?" And in the stillness, a knowing settled in her spirit. This is not just flesh and blood. Denial is the enemy's favorite sanctuary. When Renee confronted him, Marcus laughed. "Renee, come on," he said. "You're reading too much into things." She held up the bottle. "Then explain this." "It's nothing," he snapped. "I'm fine." The room went cold. "I'm your wife," she said quietly. "I'm not your enemy." His eyes hardened. That's exactly how it feels right now. The words struck her like a slap. That night, Marcus slept on the couch. That night, Renee cried until her throat burned. That night, addiction tightened its grip. The friend who refused to enable. There was only one person Marcus avoided more than Renee, Jonah. They'd been friends since college, before ministry titles, before marriage, before the cracks. Jonah saw through Marcus's polished exterior. "You're slipping," Jonah said one afternoon over coffee. Marcus scoffed. "I'm tired." "No, you're hiding." Silence stretched between them. "I won't cover for you, and I won't celebrate what's killing you." Marcus stood abruptly. "Mind your business." Jonah's voice didn't rise. "This is my business. You're my brother." Marcus walked away. and addiction cheered. When God exposes what love tries to protect. The collapse didn't come at home, it came at church. Marcus stood at the pulpit, Bible open, ready to teach on self-control. The irony burned. Halfway through his message, his vision blurred, his hands shook, sweat poured down his temples. He tried to keep going. He didn't make it. He collapsed in front of the congregation. Ambulance lights lit up the church parking lot. Renee rode beside him, heart pounding, prayers tumbling from her lips. This time, the truth refused to stay hidden. The diagnosis wasn't medical. The doctor was calm. He said, the tests showed dependency, alcohol, and prescription medication. Renee closed her eyes. Marcus stared at the floor. He doesn't make you evil, the doctor continued, but it does mean you need help. Marcus finally whispered, I don't know how this happened. Renee reached for his hand. I do, she said softly, and God does too. That night back home, Marcus broke. I'm scared, he confessed. I don't know who I am without it. Renee's voice trembled but stayed steady. Then we find out together. He looked at her, eyes red. Why haven't you left? She swallowed. Because covenant doesn't dissolve in crisis, but I won't pretend anymore. The battle lines were drawn, not between husband and wife, but between bondage and freedom. Marcus stood in the center of the living room like a man awaiting judgment. I'm sorry, he said. The words were correct. The posture was right. The tears were real. But Renee felt it, deep in her spirit, that something was missing. Sorry wasn't surrender. She nodded slowly. I believe you mean it. He exhaled in relief. But she didn't say it's over, because it wasn't. Addiction doesn't loosen its grip because of remorse. It loosens only when truth is dragged into the light and starved of secrecy. And Marcus was still hiding pieces. Accountability feels like prison to the flesh. Jonah came over that evening. No small talk, no jokes. We need structure, Jonah said plainly. Counseling, transparency, no isolation. Marcus bristled. I'm not child. Jonah didn't flinch. No, you're a man at war, and men at war don't fight alone. Renee watched them from the doorway, heart pounding. Marcus nodded, tight, reluctant. Fine, he said. I'll go to counseling. Jonah leaned forward. And the alcohol? Marcus hesitated. That hesitation said everything. Renee's silent fear. What if he chooses it again? Late that night, Renee knelt beside the bed. Her prayer cracked open like a confession. God, I can walk through pain, she whispered, but I don't know how to survive betrayal that keeps repeating. She pressed her forehead to the mattress. I don't want to become hard. I don't want to grow bitter, but I'm tired. The answer didn't come immediately. When it did, it wasn't comforting. You are not responsible for his choices, but you are responsible for yours. She sat up, shaken. What if obedience meant boundaries? What if love meant saying no more? The relapse that broke the illusion. 3 weeks sober, that's what Marcus told everyone. 3 weeks clean, 3 weeks strong. Renee wanted to believe it, until the smell hit her. Sharp, bitter, familiar. She found him in the garage, slumped against the wall, bottle hidden too late. The silence between them was deafening. You promised, she said. Marcus didn't look up. I tried. Her voice broke. Trying isn't the same as stopping. He exploded. You think this is easy? You think prayer just snaps fingers and fixes me? She recoiled, not from his anger, but from the despair underneath it. I never said it was easy, she replied softly, but you're lying again. That night, something in Renee fractured, not her faith, her illusion. When the church knows before the healing begins. News travels fast in holy spaces. Marcus was asked to step down, temporarily, they said, gracefully, they said. But shame doesn't hear grace, it hears rejection. Marcus withdrew. No Bible, no worship, no calls. The couch became his refuge. The bottle followed. Renee watched the man she married slip further away and wondered if she was witnessing the slow death of their covenant. The ultimatum Renee never wanted to give. She stood in the doorway one morning, calm but resolute. "This can't continue," she said. Marcus didn't respond. "You need rehab, not tomorrow, now." He laughed bitterly. "So you're giving up on me?" "No," she said. "I'm refusing to drown with you." The words sliced through the room. "If you don't go," she added, voice trembling, "I will." Marcus finally looked at her. Fear replaced anger. "You'd leave?" she replied. "I'd choose life. I hope you choose it too." Rehab is where pride goes to die. The facility was quiet, too quiet. No phone, no sermons, no distractions, just mirrors. Marcus hated it, hated the questions, hated the therapy, hated the way counselors refused to let him spiritualize his way out of responsibility. "You can't pray away patterns, you have to dismantle them," one counselor said. Marcus broke down in session 3, not about alcohol, about control, about fear, about the night his father left and he learned to numb pain instead of feeling it. For the first time, Marcus didn't excuse himself. He stayed. Renee learned that intercession is not self-destruction. Alone in the house, Renee rearranged more than furniture. She rearranged her boundaries. She met with a counselor. She stopped covering. She stopped rescuing. She prayed, but she also rested. "God," she whispered one evening, "teach me how to love without losing myself." And slowly, peace returned. Not because everything was fixed, but because obedience always brings clarity. The confession that finally cut the chain. Near the end of rehab, Marcus called. His voice was steady, but fragile. "There's something I never told you," he said. Renee's heart clenched. "I drank even when you were praying over me," he continued. "I hid bottles in places you still haven't found." She closed her eyes. "I used God language to protect my addiction." Silence. "I'm so sorry." This time the apology landed differently, because truth had finally caught up. Forgiveness is a process, not a moment. When Marcus came home, there was no dramatic embrace. There was conversation, counseling appointments, new rules, new humility. Forgiveness didn't erase memory, but it released poison. "I forgive you," Renee said one evening, tears streaming, "not because you deserve it, but because I refuse to be chained to pain." Marcus wept openly. For the first time, freedom felt possible. The house sounded different after Marcus returned. Not joyful, not tense, just quiet. Renee noticed it first during breakfast. The ticking of the wall clock felt louder than conversation. Marcus stirred his tea slowly, like a man afraid sudden movement might break something invisible. "Are you okay?" she asked. Marcus nodded. "I think so." But peace that comes after chaos often feels unfamiliar, suspicious, like calm water after a storm, beautiful yet hiding debris beneath the surface. Renee watched him carefully, not with fear anymore, but with discernment. Healing had begun, but battles don't end just because repentance is real. The first temptation always comes quietly. Marcus's phone buzzed late one afternoon. Unknown number. He almost ignored it. Almost. "Hey, stranger, heard you've been laying low. Thought I'd check on you." His chest tightened. It was Lydia, an old friend, a dangerous one. She knew his weakness before Renee ever did. She had sat beside him at bars when alcohol felt like oxygen. She had laughed when he said he'd quit for real this time. Marcus stared at the screen, heart racing. He didn't respond, but he didn't delete it either. And temptation never needs permission, it only needs access. Renee's vulnerability finds its own door. While Marcus battled his private demons, Renee faced a quieter struggle: loneliness. 7 years of marriage had taught her how to endure hardship, but not how to heal from exhaustion. At counseling one afternoon, her therapist asked gently, "What do you need right now, Renee?" She froze. No one had asked her that in years. "I don't know," she admitted. "I've spent so long fighting for us that I forgot how to breathe." That night, scrolling mindlessly on her phone, a message popped up. From Aaron, an old coworker. Kind, attentive, safe on the surface. "I've been thinking about you. Just wanted to say you're stronger than you know." Renee stared at the words longer than she should have and didn't close the app right away. Spiritual warfare rarely announces itself. Sunday morning worship felt heavier than usual. The songs were familiar, but the atmosphere felt thick. Marcus noticed Renee wasn't singing. Renee noticed Marcus wasn't praying. Both sensed something wrong. The enemy doesn't always attack with destruction. Sometimes he whispers distraction. Distance grew quietly that week. Not anger, not arguments, just silence. And silence, when left unattended, becomes a breeding ground for lies. The almost fall. Marcus sat in his car outside a liquor store, engine running, hands gripping the wheel. The text from Livia glowed on his phone. "Just one drink. You don't have to tell anyone." His chest burned. 7 months sober, 7 months of rebuilding trust. One drink wouldn't erase everything, right? He reached for the door handle, then stopped. Renee's voice echoed in his mind, not from an argument, but from prayer. "I choose life." He shut off the engine, hands shaking. He called Jonah. "I need help, right now." And the door to the store never opened. Renee's line in the sand. That same night, Aaron asked Renee to meet for coffee. "Just to talk," he said. She stared at the message longer than she should have, and didn't close the app right away. Then typed back slowly, "I'm married, and I'm choosing to protect my covenant." Then she blocked the number. She cried afterward, not because she wanted him, but because saying no felt like choosing pain over comfort. God met her there, not with fireworks, but with strength. Confession before exposure. Marcus didn't wait to be discovered. He told Renee everything: the texts, the temptation, the parking lot. He said, "I didn't drink, but I almost did, and I don't want secrets between us anymore." Renee listened silently. Then she did something unexpected. She thanked him for telling the truth before it destroyed us. They prayed together that night, not desperate prayers, but deliberate ones. They anointed their home, they fasted, they declared war on anything threatening their covenant. The public testimony that cost Marcus everything. The church invited Marcus to share his testimony. He hesitated. Shame still whispered, but obedience spoke louder. Standing at the pulpit, he told the truth fully: the addiction, the lies, the near fall, the grace. Some applauded, some judged, and one donor quietly withdrew funding from a ministry Marcus was hoping to rejoin. Obedience had consequences, but so does disobedience. That night, Marcus said to Renee, "I lost an opportunity today." She replied, "But you kept your integrity." And peace settled again, this time deeper. The miracle no one expected. Months passed. Not everything was perfect, but it was real. One morning, Renee stood in the bathroom staring at a test, hands trembling, tears forming before she even checked. 2 lines. She sat on the floor, sobbing. When she told Marcus, he fell to his knees. They laughed, they cried, they prayed, not for the miracle, but for the God who sustained them before it came. Redemption writes its own ending. The baby didn't fix everything, but it sealed something holy. Marcus remained sober. Renee remained strong. Their marriage, once ashes, now burned with steady fire. At the dedication service, Jonah whispered, "This is what resurrection looks like." Renee squeezed Marcus's hand. faith had survived the fire. Years later, Marcus would say, "The altar didn't save me, God did. But the fire had to burn first, and the ashes, they became testimony."